A very good morning, everyone. Just a quick announcement regarding our schedule. We will post this later on. We had a very full program, and a few people have asked me whether we cannot make it a bit more compact today. So we are aiming to finish all our official WFIMC business this morning, so that we will finish this afternoon at 5:15 after our last session, diversity, and have a longer break before the dinner this afternoon, before the dinner this evening. I hope you agree with this. I would like to first announce the results of yesterday's online poll. Thank you all for voting. We had a total of 84 registered voters, of which 68 have voted. That's a turnout of 80.9%. I'm just going to go through through every single results. Do you approve of the minutes of the general meeting? 61 yes, 1 no, and 6 abstention. Do you approve of the audited financials 2023? 67 yes, 0 no, 1 abstention. Do you approve the Treasurer's report and the budget 2025? 66 yes, 0 no, 2 abstentions. Do you approve of the 2024 statute changes as discussed in the business agenda meeting yesterday? 60 yes, 3 no, and 5 abstentions. Do you approve of the International Christoph Penderecki Cello Competition to become a new member of the WFIMC? 66 yes, 0 no, and 2 abstentions. Do you approve of the New Orleans International Piano Competition? 66 yes, 1 no, 1 abstention. Do you approve of the Stuttgart International Violin Competition to become a new member? 66 yes, 0 no, 2 abstention. Do you approve of the Daegu International Vocal Competition? 62 yes, 1 no, and 5 abstentions. Do you approve of the Adelaide International Classical Guitar Competition? 60 yes, 4 no, and 4 abstentions. Do you approve of composition as a new discipline for the international competition Franz Schubert and Modern Music? 68 yes, no, 0 no, 0 abstention. Thank you very much for your support. We now come to the second part of this year's voting, and that is the real election part, the election for the new president and the new board. You have all received an email again from the Polias company just now at 9 a.m. And this vote will be open until tonight at 9 p.m. and I will announce the results over dessert, the latest at the dinner tonight. Thank you very much. I would like to now ask all the candidates for the board and president to join me here on stage, and then we will introduce them one by one. They will all give a really quick 2-minute statement about themselves, about the federation, and what they are looking for in the upcoming board term. So please come up to the stage. We will start in alphabetical order. I'm sorry, Marcus.
It's way too early in the morning.
You can stay seated as you like. Okay. Feel free.
Good morning. I'm Marcus Barker, and I run a new company that comes out of the Sydney International Piano Competition called now Piano Plus. This would be my second term on the board here at the World Federation. I'd be, remiss not to actually kind of acknowledge that the last 3 years have been really quite difficult in terms of the decisions that we've taken on the board, that the issues that have been put in front of us to actually discuss and to actually hopefully make the right representation for the membership that sits in the hall today. Those decisions really impact all of us, not just as we sit around the boardroom table discussing the nuances of making such decisions, but keeping in mind the importance of making a decision that is representative of us all. And I think that for the next 3 years, the challenges will still be there. Those challenges will be new. Some may be a repetition of what we've already experienced in the last 3 years. But I think the makeup of the board is a really powerful tool to be representative and to make right decisions and to have a democratic process to actually kind of to arrive at those decisions. I bring from the southern part of our globe, the perspective from Australia, New Zealand, and that part of the world. And I think that's an important aspect to have with the Federation. So I looking forward to the next 3 years, hopefully, but not to forget what we've actually achieved over the last 3 years. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Ariel Cohen of the Arthur Rubinstein International Piano Master Competition in Tel Aviv.
Good morning. I will not go through my CV, since you all have received it. I will just mention a few things that I think I can bring to the board and to the Federation. First of all is the long experience, 50 years of the Rubinstein competition, and not all of them, of course, managed or directed by me. It was established by Bestritsky, and which was one of the persons who established the Federation, I think. Am I right, Florian? Yes. And then by Edith Zvi, which many of you know, but I have been involved with the Federation for at least 20 years, because many times as member of the board of the Rubinstein, and as a chair of the board later, I was asked to come to the General Assemblies when Edith Zvi could not do it. And since 2020, I'm the artistic director, which in the Rubinstein is also the CEO. It's one job, but the title is artistic director. I bring with me experience in management of companies. I was managing for more than 10 years a high-tech company in Israel. And I'm also a pianist, so I can see the point of view of the artists, of the competitors, of music. I then directed for more than 5 years the Israel Symphony Orchestra, which is also the Israeli Opera Orchestra. And I have produced a lot of concerts for many years, radio broadcasts. I wrote critics in a newspaper. So I live in this world for many, many years. Some people ask me about my background in computer science. So yes, when I graduated as a pianist from the what is called today Buchman Mehta School in Tel Aviv, I went to study medicine, and then I went to study mathematics, and then I had a second degree in computer science, and that's what brought me to manage the high-tech company. But during all that time, I was deeply involved in music. I'm an active pianist. Today, less intensively, but in the past, much more. And after the movie yesterday, I was so overwhelmed by seeing Marin Alsop's reaction to the interaction with Leonard Bernstein. So I must say that I had shorter, but at least the same kind of interaction with him when I was part of a performance of his last composition, the premiere performance in Tel Aviv and in London, in his presence, and he was listening to us before the concert and working with us, so he's really an amazing person, as Marine Alsop also. After the last night's movie, we can all realize what personalities they were. As for the federation, I believe in competitions as a platform to bring something in addition to pure music. It's a different genre of things. I think it has a natural power to appeal to a younger generation because of the competing powers, because of the tension, because of the young participants. And I believe we can do much more in this regard and maybe look for ways how to develop this. I've been speaking for many years about more cooperation with competitions. Many of us have cooperations of exchanging winners in concerts, which is a very nice way of producing concerts for our winners in other locations. We can develop that, but there are other things that we could cooperate with, one of which is, for me, very important, the coordination of dates, especially in the very crowded space of piano competitions. I think we should do better to avoid overlapping of dates of the piano competitions. And of course, the most important thing, and it was discussed, is the advancement of careers of our winners. I think this is the most important thing we can do, and I think the federation can help us more because it's difficult for each competition to do it itself. So these are three of the things I believe we should do, and of course, many other things. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariel. We now have a video of Nicolas Dernancourt of the Queen Elizabeth competition.
Dear friends, dear colleagues, for those I haven't met yet, I'm Nicolas Dernancourt. I'm Secretary General of the Queen Elizabeth competition since 2017, and I have been working for the competition since 1998. Unfortunately, I was not able to join you in Parma today. We just closed the final round of our violin competition, and we are now preparing the closing concerts that will take place in the beginning of next week. As we all know, in the last years, we have experienced a succession of crises that have forced us to take position regarding issues we wouldn't have never thought we would have to deal with. The pandemic, of course, the wars, the climate change, the economic crisis. Everything is impacting profoundly the society, and our microcosm of classical music is, of course, not spared. We have adapted as much as we could in the last years, and we certainly will have to adapt even more in the coming years. We will have to think about how the world of classical music will evolve and about how competitions keep on playing their part in this world in evolution. So as we are putting to the question our way of working, or habits or practices, it will be even more crucial, I think, to share ideas and federate ourselves to face the multiple challenges without losing sight of our aim and our fundamental values. So I believe that the role of the federation is now more important than ever, to think and work together, but also to represent and defend shared values. This is the reason why I would be happy to be involved in the works of the board, hoping to contribute as much as I can to these reflections and this sharing of ideas. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you soon live. I hope you have a great time in Parma, and I'm sending you all the very best from Brussels. Bye-bye.
Next is So-hyun Kim of the Isang-yun competition in Tongyeong, South Korea.
Dear friends and colleagues in the Federation, I'm So-hyun Kim, the director of Tongyeong International Music Foundation, which has organized Isang-yun competition since 2003. First of all, I'm so sorry I cannot attend the General Assembly this year and cannot have the opportunity to meet all of you in person. As you might know, Isang-yun competition was the first WFIMC member in Korea, and it is a leading competition in Asia. Some of you might remember this beautiful ocean view from the Tongyang Concert Hall, where we held General Assembly 10 years ago. It is a great honor for me to be a candidate for a board member of the Federation, and I would like to contribute to promoting young musicians through this opportunity. I'm very looking forward to working with you. Thank you so much.
Elisabeth Kozik of the ARD International Music Competition in Munich.
Welcome to all of you in Parma and to those who are online like me. My name is Elisabeth Kozik and I'm the Managing Director of the ARD International Music Competition in Munich since 2009 and Federation's board member since 2018. I started to work at the ARD Music Competition in 2001. As the competition takes place every year in 4 changing categories, in the last 23 years, I worked on more than 90 competitions in 21 categories, which were orchestral instruments, voice, piano, organ, guitar, and several chamber music ensembles. Therefore, whatever problems or questions you may encounter in your competitions, I probably already had to deal with them. I believe in the World Federation of International Music Competitions. It is a wonderful platform where we can meet, exchange our ideas and experiences, learn from each other, and improve. In my opinion, the most important task of the board for the next few years is to preserve the values that are important to us and yet to face up to the ever-changing demands and to move with the times. Therefore, I would be happy to support the Federation for another 3 years with my many years of professional experience and a lot of enthusiasm, so that it remains relevant in the world of the music industry. Thank you, and have an amazing time in Parma.
Next, we have Glenn Kwok of the Indianapolis.
Good morning. I'm Glenn Kwok, Executive Director of the Indianapolis in the United States. And I've had the pleasure of coming to General Assembly since 2001, and hopefully all of you after these last few days in Parma understand why it's such a pleasure. A pleasure not just because we're able to travel to all corners of the globe, but because we are able to engage in such meaningful conversation with our colleagues and meet new colleagues and have these inspirational conversations that continue throughout the year. I then had the privilege to serve on the board for several years, ultimately becoming president in 2010. And one of the things I've always felt is that it's very rare that anyone has the opportunity to be a part of change in one's society, industry, whether that's business or medicine or, in our case, the arts. But the work of the Federation does exactly that, is always working on best practices and sharing about our business that affects thousands of students and musicians every year and for generations to come. And so it's a privilege to be able to serve on the board and to be a part of that decision making. Yesterday we sat through what may seem like very tedious work on statute changes, and it reminded me how many, over these 20 years, how many times we've gone through statute changes. On one level, we can say that the way we do competitions hasn't changed much since 1957. And then on the other hand, we can see how our business has changed so much. So I'm proud of the Federation to continually evolve and to always stay present with the changes of our music industry and to always evolve and change in that way. So it would be a pleasure to serve once again on the board. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next is Päivi Puusaar of the International Jean Sibelius Violin Competition.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Päivi Puusaar from Sibelius Violin Competition from Helsinki, Finland. And my experience with competitions comes from 2010, when I started to work as an assistant in Sibelius Violin Competition. And the other competitions, we have now five international music competitions in Finland, and I've been working in 3 of them, in Paulo and also in my Olympian competition. This federation, actually, 2019 was my first time in Norrköping in these general assemblies, and I was really surprised how warm and supportive this family is, and I'm really happy that I can be a candidate. And what I've really found here is a good supportive team, and I believe in teamwork, and what I could probably bring to the federation is also our Team Finland experience, because we have very good teamwork with our international competitions. So, shortly this was it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Päivi. Next, we have Christine Reikstad of the Trondheim International Chamber Music Competition.
Thank you, Florian. Coming from Norway, it's such a pleasure to be here in beautiful Parma, and I had the best time here. Meeting the member competition and the family in the federation was such a big inspiration when I started managing the Trondheim International Chamber Music Competition. I think it was 10 years ago. But I also see, with new challenges in the world, the federation is more important than ever, fronting cooperation and providing a meaningful and inspiring community for the international music competition. And of course, the federation needs to keep its members updated and connected. The federation sets a globally recognized standard, at the same time giving space to the unique spirit and qualities in each member competition. I also believe the federation must be part of developing the classic music scene and industry, reaching new audiences, making classical music relevant for even more people. Representation in repertoire, juries, and staff is already focused for many competitions, working towards equal opportunities, making sure the new voices will be heard and could contribute to developing classical music. The federation is an important platform for sharing competence and development in how to best support our young musicians and give them the best opportunities. For the board, I will contribute with my experience in board work, but also my heartfelt engagement for artistic and general development in classical music, and also for lifting young talents onto the international stage. And I will also bring the chamber musical mind to the board, believing in teamwork and respect for each other's qualities and individual strengths, and also the exchange of opinion to achieve the greater goals. I also represent the smaller disciplines of the federation's member competitions, and I think my perspective will be a good one to have in the new board. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christine. Now we have Arthur Sklenner of the International Frédéric Chopin Piano Competition.
Florian, dear friends, Chopin competition as in Warsaw can be called kind of a senior competition among all of us. But I would like to say that as a CEO of this competition, I started to work from 2009 with my colleagues, with my team, on a completely new way of understanding musical competition nowadays. And from that moment, we developed a completely new layer of the competition that obviously had its heritage and its power. And this layer was aimed on building a new international community of classical music lovers. And after these 15 years, we've gone through all of the possibilities. We've had our own web page, our own services, our own production. We've gone through collaboration with many different platforms and so on and so forth. We've even tried the VR world. And after these 15 years, we've got 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. We've got a huge potential of people who actually want to listen to good classical music. And for all of this time, we tried to share our efforts with everybody from our community to extend these possibilities. And for me, myself, and for my team, the Federation is absolutely the most fantastic way of doing that. So my offer for this board now is that we use the power that has been built with the Chopin competition and we share it. Because the end of that is even broader, extending this international community of classical music lovers. We've got very strong assets because we've got copyright to the music that we've got during our events. We've got enthusiasm on a very young, talented people. And we've got this kind of social situation that music is combined with other elements that usual people understand. So if we join our forces, it's one of the possibilities that the values that we are all talking about, the values that are maybe not in danger, but that we've got challenges with them. We can fight for them together. That's my proposal, my plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arthur. As always, last in the alphabet, CCA of the Schoenfeld International String Competition.
Thank you, Florian. Thank you, everyone. I'm Cici from the Schoenfeld International String Competition in Harbin, China. Thank you for the love and kind understanding and listening the strong supports from all of you over the past few years. So the board and I can bring some interesting projects and meaningful initiatives to the Federation we care. As I said during the GA in Reggio Emilia 3 years ago, I believe a culturally diversified board is crucial for the development of WFIMC, as we are an organization representing competitions of the highest standard from all over the world. The valuable experience of serving the WFIMC over the past 3 years as a board member and vice president allows me to better understanding the difference of each of our members and to better facilitate intercultural collaborations. Much of my work over the past 3 years with the Schoenfeld competition and WFIMC have been in developing the necessary cultural infrastructure via music competitions and exchanges. I hope all of our members in WFIMC, regardless of national origin, can connect deeply with each other and with the passion and love and cares for the classical music and musical cultures of our future generation. We are now in a turbulent world that is full of drastic change and challenging disruption. Therefore, it's more important than ever to hear and value voice from all corners of the globe. In the upcoming 3 years, I hope our WFIMC can be a platform that helps us to understand the needs and points of view of someone who have different cultural background, artistic perspective, and administrative priorities than our own. And with this, we, the WFIMC can then explore and create more opportunities in our shared globalized world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cici. These were the 10 candidates for the board. We now have one candidate for president. Peter Paul Keinrad, please.
Good morning, everybody. I decided to not follow my speech that I prepared because we heard so wonderful words. And instead of talking about myself or my beliefs, which are pretty known, I think so, I used this very short time window to put an emphasis on this wonderful picture. We can look to this board as it would be a musical competition, guaranteeing on one side polyphony, and on the other side, I am sure, some strong counterpoints. And that are crucial elements, to have a really powerful board. And it was my predecessor, Didier Schnork, together with the, at that time, board, who decided to bring up the board, the number of positions available in the board to 11. That's the maximum defined by the statutes. And we saw over the last 3 years that it's working really well. With the hybrid approach, the mixture between online meetings and sometimes meetings in person, it's also financially approachable, and it's working like this. And we have enough, as I said before, polyphony, so enough point of views, different point of views, which helps us to reach, at the end of the day, a really good and tough decision. So I would like to ask you not only to think about every single candidate, but really to look at this as an entire picture that you can take it home as the best possible expression of this WFIMC, and I would be really happy if I can serve, because that's my understanding, leading and serving as a president, if you elect me, together with this board, the WFIMC. I would like to remind you, because maybe not everybody understood it, and it's not so clear, we have 11 candidates for 11 positions available, but every single candidate needs a relative majority. And so you should be really responsible to think about to whom to give your vote. And again, my invitation is vote us as one musical composition. Thank you very much.
Now I have two quick announcements to make, just for those of you who have not heard these dates or who have not heard these cities. Our next General Assemblies will be, you will hear this right afterwards, in 2025 will be Harbin, China. For 2026, we are talking with Vilnius, Lithuania. And for 2027, which is the great anniversary of the Federation, we would like to hold the General Assembly once again in Geneva, Switzerland. Then I have one proposal from our colleagues at the IVC competition in 's-Hertogenbosch. They would like to hold a regional meeting this October, and actually on the 5th and 6th of October, during the finals of the IVC competition, there will be a symposium on opera, more specifically on sustainability in opera, along with a couple of sessions, and we would like to invite you all to the Netherlands, if you should be free during these dates, to meet for this regional meeting. Again, October 5 and 6 of this year in 's-Hertogenbosch in the Netherlands. It's about 1 hour by train from Amsterdam Schiphol Airport, not far and very easy to reach. Do we have any questions at this point? Any questions to our candidates? Any questions about the election procedure? If not, then I say thank you to all of you. And we will next continue with a video. 1 second, please. Let them. Please. We will continue with a video, a presentation of our host city next year in 2025, which is Harbin, China. thank you very much for preparing this video for us. Harbin, even by Chinese standards, is not a small city. It has over 10 million people, and we're very honored to have from Harbin the Deputy President of the Harbin People's Congress, Lin Yan-chu.
尊敬的凯恩瑞斯主席，尊敬的瑞姆秘书长，在座的联盟成员，大家上午好。我是哈尔滨市人大常委会的副主任林艳秋，在此我仅代表哈尔滨人大和全市人民，给大家带好，祝在座的各位永远的身体健康，万事顺意。我们非常高兴呢，哈尔滨呢能够成为第一个承办世界国际英语比赛联盟会的中国城市。哈尔滨是中国最北的省会城市，这里呢山清水秀，气质浪漫，文化多元，拥有世界音乐之城、国际湿地城市、奥运冠军之城、中国西餐之都、中国啤酒之都等亮丽的城市名片。它享有东方小巴黎的美好的声誉，这是开放包容、互联互通的好地方。哈尔滨是东北亚的璀璨明珠，区位的条件得天独厚，共有43家航空公司在哈尔滨机场投入运行，开通了国内国际的航线173条，通航城市95个。与韩日、俄俄等国都处在2小时的交通圈内，是中国赴北美空中航线最近的城市。2023年，哈尔滨机场共完成旅客的吞吐量2080.5万人次，创历史新高，连续多年位居中国东北4大机场之首。哈尔滨地处东北亚中心位置，是东亚文化之都和“一带一路”中国中东欧国家合作机制的重要的枢纽城市。以哈尔滨为中心的1至2小时经济圈，人口的规模已经超过了4000万人，每年呢都有近1亿人次的游客乐享哈尔滨，具有强大的消费潜力。这里呢，风景秀丽，四季迷人，这是一个好地方。哈尔滨呢是著名的旅游胜地，它的旅游资源非常丰富。作为中国首批的优秀的旅游城市，哈尔滨上榜了世界游客向往的中国城市榜单的前10。这里呢，夏季平均的气温呢是在18度到22度之间。被国际湿地公约组织授予全球首批国际湿地城市。哈尔滨呢被称为冰雪之冠上的明珠，迄今已经有60年的冰雪文化的历史，连续7年荣膺中国冰雪旅游10佳城市榜首。这里呢也是文脉悠长、气韵灵秀的好地方。哈尔滨是中国历史文化名城，人文底蕴深厚。音乐呢是人类共同的语言，也是流淌在哈尔滨人的血脉之中。哈尔滨作为被联合国机构授予的世界音乐之城，经过100年来的历史积淀和文化传承，它拥有中国第1支成立的哈尔滨交响乐团，那么还有第1批的音乐学校和国际一流的哈尔滨的芭蕾舞团。音乐已经成为这座城市独有的文化气质。中国历史最悠久的城市音乐节——哈尔滨之夏音乐会，已经走过了63年的光辉的历程，成功的举办了36届。2014年，荀菲尔德弦乐比赛这项国际的顶级的音乐赛事 在我们哈尔滨是首次举办。那么它不仅给观众带来了卓越的艺术作品和精彩的旋乐表演，那么也为哈尔滨音乐文化注入了新的内涵和活力。寻菲尔德弦乐比赛依托哈尔滨之夏音乐会的平台，得到了非常良好的发展，并于2017年加入世界国际音乐比赛联盟。那么4年之后呢，又在世界国际音乐比赛联盟董事会成员名册上镌刻下新的历史。世界国际音乐比赛联盟与哈尔滨的友好渊源，还有凯恩瑞斯主席对我们哈尔滨的深厚的友谊，都源于对音乐艺术的一个热爱。我们将持续的通过与国际音乐比赛联盟的深度的一个合作，挖掘哈尔滨的音乐文化内涵，共同的开展系列文化活动，进一步的为国内外音乐爱好者传承丰富的音乐资源，提升城市的艺术品质，为青年演奏家提供高质量的音乐交流和展示的平台。6月的哈尔滨，繁花斗艳，水秀山青。在这生机勃发的美丽季节，我诚挚地邀请世界国际音乐比赛联盟的所有成员，通过联盟2025年年会，走进音乐之城哈尔滨，领略松江风光，感受夏都风采，共同的来体验哈尔滨的多元文化、欧陆风情和人文魅力。谢谢大家，我在哈尔滨等您。
This is the official letter from the World Federation to the city of Harbin. It's very formal and very important for us to give this here on stage, and we're really looking forward. We're very happy to see you next year in Harbin. Thank you so much. We're almost at the coffee break. We have one more little invitation from Harbin, and that is the artistic director of the Schönfeld competition, Xu Su Li, who is with us here today. He will speak in English. He's a member of the Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestra, and he will have a quite different invitation to say.
Dear ladies, gentlemen, and dear colleagues, I would like to first to congratulate our Federation for successfully holding another memorable General Assembly in Parma. On behalf of the Schönfeld International String Competition, I would like to express our greatest admiration and gratitude to all of you. It is a great honor for me as a musician and the president of the Schönfeld International Competition to have the opportunity to host our first General Assembly in China in Harbin next year over the past 68 years history of WFIMC. Schönfeld International String Competition is a competition founded by my professor Alice Schönfeld, and it is for giving tribute to her and her sister Eleanor Schönfeld, and an act of promoting their educational and musical benefits and missions. We're looking forward to hosting a wonderful General Assembly and continue to promote the spirit of Schönfeld sisters through even more extensive and meaningful exchanges with all of you in Harbin next year. Our team will undertake the work entrusted to us by all of you in WFIMC so that our General Assembly will continue to be a place for new idea, new vision, and new creativities. I'm sure it can provide you with a deeper understanding of Chinese culture and allow you to better experience the charm of this beautiful city of Harbin. On behalf of the Shuangfield competition, I extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you and looking forward to welcome you all in my hometown, Harbin, in 2025. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you can imagine, Harbin, it's far, and it will be quite a challenge for us at the Secretariat, as well as a challenge for you. But we think that after the experience we had last year in Hamamatsu, and now, of course, in Parma, it will be very exciting to open yet a completely new chapter and really be a guest of a Chinese city for the first time in the history of the WFIMC. I have one more thing which I forgot to mention while I just said Hamamatsu. We have here our colleague Noriko, who would like to say one word for you because she will be leaving us today and you might not see her at any time soon. Do you want to come up here, Noriko?
Florian?
Yes.
Florian, may I ask one question regarding the General Assembly in Harbin? Because I think maybe this is something that everybody might be thinking. Will the Secretariat and the inviting city help everybody with obtaining their visas? And also, what does that mean in terms of timeline of when people need to apply for coming to this conference? So do we need to be sooner with telling you that we are actually coming?
We don't have the exact dates confirmed yet, but we're aiming for a date at the end of June. We will obviously help you with obtaining your visas, and we will give you timeline, we will give you advice on booking air tickets, travel, and so forth already in this autumn. I should note that already since the end of last year, several European countries, citizens of several European countries can travel to China without a visa. So it's much less complicated than it used to be. And we are checking all these things and we'll update you. But it is a lot less stressful and a lot less complicated as you might think. Sorry, let's give Noriko just 1 minute to say a few things and then it'll be coffee break.
Hi, everyone. Well, the city of Harbin looks like a dream. I wish I could just come to next General Assembly, but I have to say goodbye to you. Well, it's been the most wonderful 6 years to be a part of the wonderful board members representing the Hamamatsu, and it's been really wonderful for our competition. The competition, the 12th edition, is going to happen in November this year, so if you're interested, please come and visit us. I have kept my karaoke membership, so you can always come. But after the competition, I am going to step down, so I will not be able to come back to General Assembly as a member competition. So I just wanted to say thank you and goodbye. So thank you very much.
Coffee break. Can we please all take a seat? Ladies and gentlemen, if you please take your seats. From time to time, the Federation honors some of our long-standing members with an honorary membership. And we have one person here with us today who has been with us for a long time. He has been directing our only competition in Vienna, which is not a small thing to say. And he's just about to hand over the flag to the next generation. So we would like to honor him today with an honorary membership of the World Federation. And I invite now Michael Frischenschlager and Daniela Rodriguez to me on stage, please.
Hello, good morning. I prepared a few words to introduce the Professor Frischenschlager. The first celebration organized by Professor Frischenschlager to honor Fritz Kreisler took place in 1975, featuring a concert commemorating the 100th anniversary of Kreisler's birth. Since 1989, the Professor Frischenschlager has served as president of the Fritz Kreisler International Violin Competition, tirelessly collaborating with various boards and organizations to support young musicians in Kreisler's name. He has voluntarily dedicated over 40 years of his life to establishing the Fritz Kreisler Violin Competition as a premier event for aspiring violinists, striving to showcase Kreisler's artistic personality, musical poetry, and profound humanity to the world. As a professor at the Vienna Music University since 1971, and later its rector, Frischenschlager has mentored many violinists who have gone on to win prestigious competitions, teach at major conservatories, and perform with leading orchestras and chamber ensembles worldwide. His commitment to music education was further evidenced by his roles with the European String Teacher Associations and the World Federation of International Music Competitions. His masterclasses continue to inspire and refine the skills of young musicians. I had this distinct honor to collaborate with Professor Frischenschlager, a partnership that has been a very rewarding experience, both inspiring and enriching. Our collaboration was marked by a shared dedication to excellence and a passion for nurturing young musical talents. One of our proudest achievements was the co-organization of the Fritz Kreisler International Violin Competition in 2022. Through our combined efforts, we were able to provide a proper platform to celebrate the 10th edition of the competition. Working with him has been a deeply personal journey of growth and inspiration. Reflecting on our time together, I am filled with pride and gratitude.
Florian, Daniela, dear friends and colleagues, I am this moment surprised and deeply touched that you are dedicating a moment this time to my not very important person. And I'm very, very honored of this honorary membership, because it's since 35 years I was here I don't know whether somebody here who are longer. So I was member of after I took over the Kaiser competition in 1809. So I really, for me now, it's a kind of historical moment, because this is my last General Assembly. I represent the Kaiser competition as president. Now my successor will come, the next General Assembly will come, my successor as president. It's Dr. Helsberger, Clemens Helsberg. He was for many years director of the Vienna Philharmonic, and he will lead the competition in future, supported by our very brilliant General Secretary, Daniela Campodella. So I can only thank you from all my heart, President, to Florian, that you were thinking to honor me in this way. It will be, for me, a very, very important thing. I'm deeply grateful. I always enjoyed to be in the federation. For me, the federation was always necessary, very important, a very important contribution to promote classical music worldwide, and it's a very important contribution worldwide for peace and for culture. And so I have been proud and happy to be member of this organization, and I will come again, but next time as guest with great pleasure. I remember so many wonderful General Assemblies, always in different countries. I will never forget, but I will come again, but this time then as guest, and I will come with great joy. I wish the Federation all the best, and once again, so many thanks for this great honor you are giving me today. Thank you so much.
Finally, we are getting to our focus on conducting competitions, and it is now a great joy for me to introduce to you the Sovrintendente, the intendant of the Arturo Toscanini Foundation, Ruben Gijs. Please.
Good morning, everybody. Well, since I'm the host, it's a great pleasure to have you all here during these days. I hope you're enjoying the city, our structures, and the hospitality of Parma, which is an extremely devoted town to music, not only because Toscanini and Verdi lived and worked here, but because the musical culture is extremely into the roots of the people of the region. I'm here since this January. I started working for this institution January 2024. It is a very interesting institution. It was founded, the orchestra was founded in 1975, so next year, May the 10th, we will celebrate our 50th anniversary. It was founded because the region is very rich in opera houses. Almost every village, not only the bigger towns, but also small villages have small opera houses, because the tradition of opera in this region is extremely developed. So in 1975, the region, Regione Emilia-Romagna, decided to create an orchestra to help all the theaters of the region to develop opera. And that was the main goal of this orchestra for the past 50 years. The name at the beginning was Orchestra Sinfonica dell'Emilia-Romagna. In 1982, so 7 years after the foundation of the orchestra, the Toscanini family decided to allow the orchestra to take over the name of Arturo Toscanini, and the orchestra became Orchestra dell'Emilia-Romagna Arturo Toscanini. That also gave the orchestra the opportunity to start developing the symphonic repertoire. So together with the opera throughout the region, they started having a concert season in Parma and in the whole region. The development of the orchestra, so many famous conductors working with them, from Georges Prêtre to Zubin Mehta to Kurt Masur. Vladimir Delman was one of the founders of the orchestra. Gianandrea Gavazzeni worked with this orchestra, so very renowned names. And more and more, also the symphonic repertoire was developed and became half of the job of this orchestra in the region and abroad. The orchestra had many international tours. We toured from Japan to Europe, to South America, to United States with different conductors. And that allowed us to develop a deep knowledge also of the contemporary repertoire. Together with the Toscanini competition for young conductors, the foundation had developed before the Toscanini competition also a competition for contemporary music, for composers. And the orchestra has one of the largest percussion instrument situation in Italy because of this, because of the fact that it was so much into contemporary music. Nowadays, the orchestra still develops these two different functions. We started working in this structure from 2007. The auditorium, as you know, it was originally a sugar factory. I don't know whether you saw the big fountains next to the building were used to cultivate the sugar plants. And then when they stopped producing sugar here, Renzo Piano, the archistar, the Italian archistar, decided to transform it into an auditorium. And that's why the structure is well known in Italy because of the name of the archistar, Renzo Piano. Nowadays, we perform all our concerts here in the auditorium. Then, after 2007, the city of Parma decided to build also our office building, the one we are in, with this also small chamber concert hall, and the other upper rehearsing rooms we have for the orchestra. The orchestra works with all the traditional theaters in the region, from Ferrara, Modena, Piacenza, Reggio Emilia, Cesena, and so forth. And from this season, we will have also a symphonic season of 20 different concerts throughout September through May. This will allow us to develop the two different aspects of our repertoire. Until last May, Enrico Nofri was our principal conductor, and obviously together with him, a famous Baroque violinist, the orchestra developed the knowledge of the classical and pre-classical repertoire. And now we have a transitional season, 24-25, and since 25 we will appoint a new music director, a principal conductor, to develop more the romantic and late romantic repertoire. This season, the coming season, 24-25, will be especially centered on late romantic music. We will have Mahler, we will have Stravinsky, the ballet, we will have Shostakovich music, which somehow were not developed in the past few years. So this is approximately the story of this orchestra. We have at the moment 55 steady elements of the orchestra. We are going to have auditions at the end of this year in order to reach a stable number of 65 musicians to face the repertoire, and then obviously extra players for the bigger productions. At the moment, the structure, the offices have 25 people working for the structure. We also the auditorium is co-managed by Teatro Regio, the orchestra and the city. And together with our artistic activities, we also rent it out in order to cover the cost of the maintenance of the buildings. And so it's a very steady financial situation. We always collaborate also with the Teatro Regio. We are the orchestra for the Verdi Festival. As you know, in Parma, Teatro Regio organizes the Verdi Festival. It was meant to be usually mid-September, mid-October. It's been postponed. Next season, this season 24, and from this season on, will be beginning of October, early November. And we will be the orchestra for the whole festival, all the productions, which go from main Verdi operas, but also some contemporary operas. This year we will concentrate also on Luigi Nono compositions. And we work also with the city of Busseto. The Teatro Regio has its own opera season, and usually out of the 4 titles of each season, we perform half of them. The rest of the season in Teatro Regio is played by guest orchestras, because our orchestra, the Toscanini, is engaged by the other theaters of the region. So it's a very complex system, but very well functioning. And since I just started knowing how it works, I see that the region itself develops a lot and invests a lot of money in developing the music culture. And this is very interesting in Italy, where not all the regions are so keen in developing the music culture. The competition, I know we will talk a little bit about the Toscanini competition in a little bit. It will be our 12th edition. It's not been very regular. It was funded in 1985, so we only had 3 or 4 years between each edition, and this year will be 2025 will be matched with the 50th anniversary of the orchestra. So for us will be an important focus on the role of the orchestra in the region. So welcome again, and I hope we'll have an enjoyable dinner together tonight. Thank you.
I think while we're talking about our listening to our hosts, I think it would be also a good point to say a short word of thanks to Fulvio Zanoni, who is sitting with us inside today. He's been doing a wonderful job.
So, here we are again with a panel. I will try to do my best, but I'm not so sharp anymore as I maybe have been the first day. But we're very happy to be here today with, conducting competition royalty. And I'm really excited to have, some faces from our federation who we don't see that often. And I'm really happy that you took this opportunity to come here and talk with us. I think, first we would like to give just an impression of, what defines each of our competitions. And if I may, I would like to suggest to start with one of our founding members, the Besançon competition.
Hello to everybody. It's the first time that I'm with you. I'm very impressive. It was a long travel yesterday. Yes, Besançon was in the second year of the federation, and our competition was founded in 1951, and so this year was the 76th edition, so very, very old. No, sorry, it's a festival, because our competition is organized by a festival. Each September we have a festival, and each 2 years we have the competition. So my English is so bad that I have a video. Perhaps it would be better to present our competition. We have some specificities, and I think it would be interesting after to speak about this specificity about selection and etc. If we can see the video.
Le Grand Prix Maestro, Swan van Rechem.
Le concours de jeunes chefs d'orchestre de Besançon a une spécificité, celle d'organiser ces sélections non pas sur vidéo ou dossier, mais lors d'auditions. Le jury des présélections se déplace donc au Canada, en Allemagne, en France, à Paris et Besançon, jusqu'en Asie pour auditionner près de 300 candidats.
This competition, they don't watch the video, and they invite all the people to watch in person. I really love the idea.
Making a video is very, very difficult for many conductors. So this is so democratic. I'm sure that's how they find the most talented and the most eager candidates.
Lors des auditions, les candidats disposent d'une douzaine de minutes pour convaincre le jury de leur qualité technique, mais aussi de leur musicalité, en dirigeant 2 pianistes pour un temps de travail musical sur des œuvres du répertoire symphonique.
Ce qui rend l'exercice passionnant, c'est justement toute cette question de l'interaction. Évidemment, dans le geste avec la baguette, de temps en temps, il y a des candidats, même sans parler, c'est juste une évidence en fait. Et ça, c'est vraiment passionnant.
Le 2 pianos, c'est une épreuve en soi assez particulière. Non seulement c'est le même jury, mais c'est les mêmes pianistes qui font tout le temps le voyage, partout dans le monde. Donc en fait, c'est extrêmement fair-play en quelque sorte.
À l'issue des auditions, seuls 20 candidates et candidats sont sélectionnés pour participer aux épreuves avec orchestre à Besançon en septembre. Le jury international évalue les jeunes chefs lors d'épreuves symphoniques, concertos, oratorios, opéras et créations contemporaines, ce qui fait de Besançon un des concours les plus complets et les plus recherchés.
It's very special, I think, in Besançon that you have rounds for symphonic music and rounds for opera and concerto as well. For that, it's really very interesting.
It's really challenging to have this kind of variety of repertoire.
I think everyone will achieve their opportunity and their dream, no matter you were selected at the next round, but this experiences, I think, is the most important things that will help you a lot.
The orchestras who have played have been very, very high quality, very professional and very supportive.
I can feel orchestra will immediately do what I wanted to do. It's really, really nice. I can feel the orchestra with conductor very, very close.
I think Besançon is more unique because the artist of the orchestra and the jury, I think everyone got the passion.
A winner must have something special, not only technique, not only the communication, but we need something special character. This is the most important for Grand Prix.
Remporter le concours de Besançon ou même participer aux épreuves finales est un véritable coup de projecteur pour les jeunes chefs. De grands noms de la direction d'orchestre, tels Seiji Ozawa, ont été révélés ici, à Besançon.
It doesn't matter if you win or not, but this experience in Besançon and this competition can build the career of young conductors.
If you are confident And if you think you are good enough, just go to Montreal, Paris, Tokyo, wherever it is. Just go and try. Who knows?
Thank you very much. It really introduces a lot of talking points where we'll get back to later. I would really like to give the floor to our colleagues from Tokyo.
Thank you, Rolf. Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank you for giving me the time to introduce our competition today. Since its launch in 1967, this competition has been held once every 3 years. And this year marks the 20th anniversary of the competition without interruption. The competition is organized by the Min-On Concert Association, which was founded in 1963 by Dr. Daisaku Ikeda as a contribution to the development and promotion of music culture and the emotional education for young people. The association receives 500 Japanese yen as an annual membership fee for each from approximately 1 million supporting members nationwide every year. And we operate a music museum and hold school concerts with part of the funds used to run the competition. The first chairman of the judging committee was Hideo Saito, who mentored many conductors, including Seiji Ozawa, and established his own conducting style, and who built the foundation of the competition. Seiji Ozawa, who unfortunately passed away this year, also worked hard as a judge and organizing committee member of many years. In the 1990s, our competition developed into a full-fledged international one, and it has made history as the only international conducting competition in Asia for a long time. Nowadays, other international competitions held in Hong Kong and Hiroshima after we operated. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Marcus, maybe you want to share something about the Bamberg competition.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here. It's my first time live on this conference. I enjoy it very much. The Mahler competition has been with the Federation a little bit longer and was founded exactly 20 years ago from now. The first prize winner was Gustavo Dudamel, who was at this time a 21-year-old Venezuelan young boy who nobody knew. And this was the start of the competition, which really kicked us up on the level we are working today. And one of the later prize winners was Lahav Shani. All of you know him, of course. Well, what's special about the Mahler competition in Bamberg, except that it's one of the big competitions with like 350 or 400 applicants every year from 16 nations, so it's a really international one, is that it's called the Mahler competition and is very much linked to the orchestra, to Bamberg Symphony. Bamberg Symphony is running the competition, so there's not an own company or something or foundation for the competition, but it's the orchestra who is running it. I'm the CEO of the orchestra, and so I'm also responsible for the Mahler competition every 3 years. And we are always obviously playing music by Gustav Mahler. Marina Mahler, the granddaughter, is the president of the jury, and she also founded this competition. And Gustav Mahler was conductor in his lifetime and was famous as a conductor, not as a composer. But that's what we want to show as well. And so always contemporary music, always a world premiere is part of the competition for all candidates. And another interesting thing is that all candidates who are invited to Bamberg have to start with a Mahler symphony. So I think it's for all of them the first time that they have a 110 people, very professional world orchestra in front of them and have to try to run this Ferrari somehow. So that's really astonishing, and you can really see what happens with these talents at this time. And another thing is that all the candidates stay there all the time. It's like a family thing. So we invite everybody and we pay for everybody to stay until the end. So it's one of the rare opportunities where conductors can make friends with other conductors before they start in this completely lonesome career and life. Yeah, and Bamberg Symphony, and then I'm finished already. Bamberg Symphony has a Mahler tradition, which you may not know because the orchestra has been founded in 1946 in Bamberg, but the orchestra came from Prague and was the German Philharmonic Orchestra in Prague before the Second World War, and was serving in the German Opera House in Prague. During that wonderful time at the beginning of the 20th century in this melting pot city in Prague, there were two opera houses, one Czech opera house played by the Czech Philharmonic and one German opera house played by our predecessor orchestra. Gustav Mahler was Kapellmeister at this orchestra. Alexander von Zemlinsky was chief conductor. George Sell was a chief conductor before he went to the US. So it's this kind of creative and cultural background that we still have. And also we premiered Mahler's 7th Symphony together with the Czech Philharmonic in Prague in 1908. So there's a certain link to this kind of music which we are still living in. Thank you.
Thank you. Ruben, we heard about the foundation. Maybe you can also tell a bit more about your competition.
Yeah, as I told you before, it was started in 1985, the first edition, and because of the double nature of this orchestra, some of the editions are devoted to opera, like last one in 2021. Last night, well, 2 nights ago when you were at the concert, the conductor for the concert last night was the winner of the 2021 competition, the Toscanini competition. This year, instead, in this next year, 2025, we will concentrate again on symphonic repertoire. So somehow the competition has this double nature, and every edition concentrates on one of the aspects. We never, so far, the foundation never worked on the whole repertoire, Baroque, classical, opera, and contemporary. So next season will be only concentrating on symphonic, late romantic, and contemporary music repertoire. We will host, it will be 1 week in September. We will host 10 candidates at the beginning, 3 days for the first selection. And then from the 10 competitors will be 6, and then only 4 for the final, the last 2 days. And we will have a final concert here in the auditorium, obviously. The orchestra is used to be the orchestra for the competition, and so the repertoire we will develop for the candidates, it's our family repertoire. So this will somehow help the conductors concentrate more on how to present themselves to the jury. And the jury for the first time next year will be 60% women and only 40% male members. Now it's a quality, gender quality also important, and we will have 3 women conductors in the jury. Plus, also, we think it is very important to have some agents in order to offer not only a money prize at the end of the competition, but also let the quality of the conductors be known by the agents, international agencies, so that they can start building their own careers from the competition itself.
Thank you so much. Already another great topic to talk about later. If I may, I also run a conducting competition. I've talked about it before during this assembly, so I will keep it very brief. It's a very new competition because we only had one edition. The second edition is coming up next week. We have our semi-finals of that competition. It's a competition that is spread out over a longer period of time. So the semi-finals are 1 year prior to the finals. Just like Besançon, it's set up in more specific rounds with different kind of specialties. But contrary to what my colleagues do, we set up a competition which is more resembling actual concerts. So it means that the rounds that we organize are real concerts, so that they have rehearsals and an evening concert. What you see quite often in the finals, but for us that's every round. So it's a different way of approaching. That means though that we have to limit the amount of candidates, so we only invite 6 conductors for the finals for these concerts, and we have 24 next week in the semi-finals. Which brings me to one of the important points, and I think that we need to stress this, is that what makes conducting competitions so different from all the other competitions here present is that conductors, of course, they study for an instrument which they never play. And this is one of the most difficult things for them, but it's also a difficult thing, I think, for the industry, is that you can really study for a long time how to be a conductor and try things out. But as Marcus said, quite often at our competitions, it will be the first time that they test drive a real Ferrari. So it is challenging for them as well. So because they quite often don't know what they are about to expect, or there's a lot of things that are new to them. But that I think that it also really creates, it shows the importance of conducting competitions, because it is a way to really gain experience, which you will not get in different places. So I'm really happy to see that there are more and more conducting competitions, because they will give the opportunity. And you see already with the people that we have on the couch here, that there are so many different ways of providing this platform. So for me, a question would be then maybe to you, Michel. You started to talk about the selection process, and I think this is really an important part, because also conductors are coming from so many different places. There are people, of course, who study at conservatories, but there are also people who in later life decide from an instrument, I want to do conducting. So as you said, you receive a lot of applications, and you have made the decision to judge them all.
Yes, it's very easy to organize. It's a choice to not select on file on videos. Of course, the problem is that we have a lot of bad candidates, of course, but they're all the chance to have their 12 minutes. But in fact, during the pandemic COVID, we have to cancel that. We have to try video, and it completely changed the spirit of that. As I said in the video, I understand that it's a very good way to have the videos, and some of our partners ask 2 things: stop to take planes and with the jury to go to your selection, and please have some quotas for women. We'll talk about that later. But we try to keep this selection. It's not the perfect way, but I think it's a very very equality offer to the candidates. But of course, we have 2 pianists, 2 members of a jury, and me, where it's 3 weeks. It's very long and very expensive, but we try to keep that. But of course, I think that we're perhaps the only competition of conducting keeping that way, and not easy to keep.
And to get a better understanding, these selections with two pianos, that gives you the right information of this interaction that you're looking for.
It's very important because there is two parts in these 12 minutes. At first, all candidates have to conduct without stop, just run. And they have never saw the pianist. They know the program, of course. And after, they have 5 or 6 minutes to rehearse. And after, in Besançon, all the sessions are rehearse time, except the final. And rehearsal time is very important because we can judge, of course, technical things, of course, musicality, also how they manage, how they speak to the musicians. Sometimes we have very good candidates, but they don't look to the pianist or the artist, or they don't ask anything, or they don't manage the time in the good way. When you say to the candidate, you have 6 minutes, please rehearse on these 20 bars of the beginning of Beethoven Symphony, you see everything. Of course, video is another way, I think is also a good way, but we see different things with this kind of live session, live auditions.
Yes. So, Marcus, you said you had more than 400 applications. How do you deal with that?
Well, I think the selection process for every one of us is a hard thing, either if you travel around the whole world or if you, as we do, lock yourself in a hotel room with video for 4 or 5 days and then just, you know, this square eyes afterwards. Now, it's, we have a selection jury which consists of Jakub Ruscha, our chief conductor, a conducting teacher, myself, and a member of the orchestra, which is very important because they have a completely different view, as we all know. And the first round of selection from 350 or 400 down to 100 is very, very easy because you really can see within minutes on a video if this is a talented person or not. Yeah, level or not. But then it really gets hard, and then you look more into the videos, and everybody's sending different videos. Now it's much more easy than when we started. When we started, they would send in this kind of video cassettes and bad quality and so on. And now you just get YouTube links. Everybody has a smartphone, so you can record your things easier. But still, what we get is not professional orchestras of our quality. That might be student orchestras, that might be chamber orchestras, that might be videos from other competitions, thanks to this, or from master classes. Then you have a comparison to see how do they react with the good
free program or all the same piece?
No, everybody can send in whatever he or she wants.
In Tokyo, I saw in your rules that it's all the people have to record a video with the same piece. So in your competition, it's free program.
It's free. It's completely free.
Yeah.
And then we look into this and see who is musically interesting, and also who can handle the big late symphonic repertoire, which is the specialty of ours.
Yes. Can you maybe tell how you go about with your selection?
今、私が言いたいことは彼女に伝えましたので、彼女が説明します。基本的には同じ曲で、やります。で、この7月にビデオ選考がありますけれども、そこから、今300近くの応募がありますけれども、20人に絞って、そこから一次予選、二次予選、そして本戦になりますけれども、20名が、約20名が8人。そして4人で4人で本戦を行います。
Actually, in fact, already I told me and who is executive associate and interpreter this time. And actually, you're right. The repertoire is exactly same for the contestants, so everybody has to follow the same pieces. In fact, and first of all, the number. So many numbers of the participants have to send the documents and the video footage. And it will be selected in July this year because we're going to be held the competition this autumn. So we're going to choose the maximum 20 people in 2 or 3 days. And afterwards, we're going to hold the first round and to choose the 8 people, and the second round would be the 4 people, and then finally we will choose the only one person on the final round.
So, but for the selection already, you have repertoire that is fixed for all candidates.
Exactly. Yes. This is a different point, I think.
Yeah. No, but it's interesting because it also requires that the videos are made especially for you most of the times.
全部同じ曲、選考基準は指揮者の先生が選ぶので、我々にはちょっとどういう基準かはなかなかちょっと理解ができない。
It's very difficult to describe from the committee side because always we rely on juries and judges to choose the good people to be selected for the first round. So it's very difficult to describe what kind of criteria they have.
Yeah. No, but it's very, you create very equal opportunities for everybody. So it is a very good solution, of course.
Thank you.
Ruben, how do you go about with selection process?
Yeah, we're similar to the Mala competition. We receive videos usually via YouTube links, and the jury select only 10 candidates. The previous competition was set in 2 different periods. In July it was the first selection, and then in September was the final round. We decided also because of an economical reason, instead of putting together only 10 candidates instead of the 25 which were in the first round in the previous edition of the competition, we decided to concentrate only in 1 week in September, early September, 1 through 7, and we will have 10 candidates selected by videos. I think that one of the reasons to allow more people to be selected is to allow people to use whatever they have, because it's a very rare opportunity for young musicians, young conductors to work with an orchestra and to be able to record whatever it is, the rehearsal, or also being a student of a conservatory, the studying process. And so we also received, some of the videos are with pianos, and so you really have to concentrate on the musicality you see. Somehow the jury has to foresee something which you can only perceive lightly in what you see. Technically they can be okay, but you have to see beyond the surface of what you see in the conductor, and then the jury has a very important role, and it is easy to make mistakes. Obviously, it will be much easier to travel around the world, but as you said, it's quite expensive. So
yeah, I have a question. If with the videos, sometimes have you some case very disappointing, very big difference between the videos and in reality?
Yes.
Yeah. Of course, it depends also with, but less, I think, with our system. But sometimes there is big difference.
I think sometimes, not very often, because if you, well, we don't have many applications with videos with pianos. It's all orchestra somehow, so you can somehow see or find how this will work. But we had candidates who had sent wonderful videos, and then they came. We thought like, oh, it's a different person, or what's going on, and. Also, you can see sometimes you get edited videos. So something like a symphony part, and it looks all very good, and all of a sudden we feel, okay, where's the difficult part? Get back a little bit.
They cut it off before you have the transition.
Yeah.
Pre-program.
So they are out immediately, of course.
Yeah, so and then the first 3 days is the first round for the 10 candidates. then another 3 days for the semi-final, and we concentrate on different repertoire, the late romantic repertoire in the first 3 days, and then some semi-final instead is more on contemporary music also, because of the tradition of the orchestra. And then in the final, the last day before the final concert is only for 4 candidates. And we have 3 prizes, money prizes, 20, 15, 10,000 for the 3 winners, plus other 2 prizes, one from the orchestra and one from the audience. All the rounds are open to the public. And so also the audience can vote at the end for one of the 4 finalists.
It's an interesting point that you mentioned, Marcus, the difference between, the selection and the actual work with the orchestra. Also, if you look here on the couch, there were different approaches, of course. Ruben and you, who are attached to an orchestra, and to Tokyo, and you too, and we hire different orchestras. So I'm curious to hear also from especially you and Marcus and Ruben and Tokyo, when you observe the videos, do you already think about your orchestra? Do you already think about, does this person connect with my orchestra, and would that work? Are you looking at that way, or are you looking more in a broader sense? Because in the end, it's also about this connection and the culture of your orchestra.
I'm looking if this will work with some late symphonic repertoire. So, because it's a Mahler competition. So, if they send in beautiful videos of Haydn symphonies conducting, and you can't really judge on can he or she handle a big symphonic complex thing like this. And the orchestra, when it comes to the live competition, they act like a mirror in the competition. It's very nice. They do exactly what the conductor would show them. And so I don't need to take care about would it fit with my orchestra or not. That we will see when we go to the finals, because then you're looking for character, for charismatic personality and so on. So the things, I liked this yesterday in the movie with Man Alsop. It was all in there, apart from the discussion of female or male conductors. It was all in what we are looking for, or what you have to deliver to be a really world-class conductor. And it's not about the technique at all. It's about inspiration. It's about, passion and what character, and that's what we are all looking for, I think.
Yeah, but then you can be a world-class conductor, but it doesn't mean that you have a match with every orchestra, because
No, but that's with all world-class conductors, isn't it?
That's the point I made. Is that in the end, the success of conductors in your competition is how much they connect with your orchestra.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, even the first prize winners, when they return to the orchestra for a normal concert afterwards, sometimes they don't connect with the orchestra in that normal situation, like in the free, wild thing, because then the orchestra looks at them as a normal guesting conductor with another attitude, also with another expectation than in the competition. But also with the famous names, whatever they click with one orchestra, they don't click with another one. So it's really very much chemistry also, which...
Yeah, I think somehow it's more important if they don't connect with the orchestra to see how a conductor can arrange his personality to the musician he has in front, because with certain orchestras the match is natural, is automatic. But then you don't have to prove how good you are in convincing the musicians in front of you of the good value of your ideas. And it's always a question of interpretation and how you can convince professional musicians in front of you. I think one of the most important thing in thinking about the figure of a conductor nowadays is that, well, Toscanini, at his time, musicians were somehow only technicians of an instrument. They needed to be guided the conductor was the cultural figure. Mahler himself, he was such a cultural figure. He had to bring his culture to the musicians. Nowadays, international orchestra, all the musicians have a very high level of culture. And so the conductor somehow has to convince the professional musicians of the good value of his ideas, of his interpretation. So somehow, if it doesn't match automatically, it's better because you can see really how a conductor works with the orchestra. And the prize you give at the end is really based on the musicality of the conductor, who is able to convince musicians who somehow started against him, which is usual with conductors. When an orchestra does not know a conductor, in the first 5 minutes is like, is he good, is not good? It's immediately judged. And sometimes the conductor has to convince the orchestra of his value and of his ideas, musical ideas. So when you select a conductor, he also has to have the personality and the strength, the charisma to convince the musicians. So somehow I would say I'd rather have from the video somebody who wouldn't match with our orchestra instead of the contrary, because then you see the value of the conductor.
Yeah. Jean-Michel, you have multiple orchestras in your competition.
Yes.
Do you see differences then between the...
First point is that when the jury with the piano in the sessions of auditions, they think this candidate perhaps is talented, but he couldn't match with the orchestra. So sometimes we don't keep these candidates. They are good musicians, but not enough. The jury have to make the projections to the orchestra. But after, in Besançon, during 1 week, we have 20 candidates, and there are 3 different orchestra. One orchestra for first day, after one other orchestra for opera and concerto, and an international orchestra for final one. So usually, when the good candidate is good with the 3. The contact is good with the 3 candidates. The other point is sometimes they are all young. It's difficult to find at the limit age is 35. Sometimes they're not perfect candidates. There is a potential. This is another question. The jury, one time, 10 years ago, they prefer the youngest finalist and was not really ready. And after, it was a disaster. It was the only time it arrived. And after, we decided to be very careful during the debates of the jury. And of course, after the winner, during 3 months, accompaniment and with, you know her, she's working with you, Aimé Paré, with make some counsel and advices about choice of agency, how to negotiate a fee, all that things we are on in addition of the only musical things. But when the candidate is very good, even if it's not a perfect candidate at 30 years or 25 or sometimes 22 years old, we help him and the jury judge potentiality, not only a perfect conductor so young.
Well, it's an interesting topic, of course, you know, the age limit of conducting competitions. And there are many discussions, and I don't know how it's about you, but I get blistered with emails of conductors who are between 40 and 60 who say, you need to open up your competition for me as well, because... But that's, you know, we decided with our second competition to lower our age limit. So in the first edition we went to 35, and now we're going to 30, and that's because we see our competition especially as an extension of the schools, so of the training, and really getting a start in experiencing what it is to be a conductor. It doesn't have to be a career straight away, but it's a learning process, and so that's why we decided to lower the age limit. But how do you look at age limits?
35 in our festival competition.
36.
38.
Who has a higher bid?
No, we're still discussing. Since I arrived now, and since January, we're still discussing with the committee and with the new jury members. And yeah, probably 35, it's a good age, but we haven't decided yet.
It's very interesting because if they are too young, it's just the prolongation of the studies. They could be not enough to be invited immediately in big orchestra.
Yes.
It's a risk. What do you think? No?
Yeah, yeah. Well, what I also think is, what you say, 35 is a good age. If you're older than that and you don't have the experience or the convincing power to an orchestra, then you're just too old. And that's how the market works, because there's always young, exciting conductors coming up, not only from competitions, but also from agencies who are pushing young conductors. And so we are in a competitive market even outside our competitions as well. And there's very few spots for young conductors for the really big orchestras. Like we can have this once a year, and other orchestras are like this. I wanted to, if I may, say something about the what you said, consulting or training after the competition. What we are offering is 3 years coaching and career advice for the winner. And I think that's very important, because we don't have any agents in the jury for that reason. And of course, during the competition, during the finals, all the agents would come to Bamberg and have some contracts already in hand and say, sign here and I will do the best for you. And we always say to the winner, don't do anything, you will get advice. And we get advice on what to do, how to develop repertoire, how to take an agent, which agent to take, which invitations to accept or not to accept, and so on.
Repertoire,
yeah, and the nice thing is that this will be paid by the former winner. So it's like a family transition, and it's a voluntary thing, but it works all the time. The last winner pays the coaching for the next one,
which is a fantastic thing, yeah. But it's interesting. Maybe we can touch on this topic of agencies, because this might be alienating to quite a few of our colleagues. And I find this very, it's stressful, especially for conductors. We do the coaching in between the semifinals and the finals, so we really see it as a trajectory where we help them to develop to be at their best during the competition. So we have 2 academy weeks, and also we have a lot of online sessions with different coaches. But what we saw in the last competition is that agencies already saw the potential. So after the semifinals, all 6 were signed. What I'm seeing this time is already that the 24 are already, quite a few will be announced this week that they have signed. And I think this is a dangerous situation. If you look, especially Ascona Holt is very bad at this. They just have a list which goes on and on and on, where they just put conductors there in hope that they will stick. That's a very and I think we as competitions need to think about how do we protect, because I'm exactly like you. You want to make sure that they are guided in these decisions, but you see now that the decisions are made even before the competition, so you cannot guide them before the competitions.
Well, with our competition, there's nobody signed before, and normally, because we don't have this idea of semi-final before. But the problem is, if the big agency, they just put 20 people on their list, what do they do to them? What do they deliver? Can they really work for them? Or do they just do like gambling? I take 20 and I hope one of them will be the cash cow in 20 years.
Well, to be honest, but what I did with the first competition is that I got in touch with all the agencies, and I talk with them. What is the potential here? You have signed your artist. There's a really big showcase coming up. So what can we do together? So because I don't want to book engage. This is also something I want to get into engagements after the competition, and so I gave the responsibility to the agency and said, okay, how are we going to make sure that there will be a follow-up to this competition? So we invited orchestras together and these kind of things. So, but talking about engagements, maybe that's another nice transition.
Just perhaps
yeah,
to finish about this subject, because in your jury there is some agency, so I'm very surprised because just it's not a risk, perhaps.
Well, you know, my point of view is that you become a conductor approximately when you are 75 years old. Before that, it's only a growing process. So the thing is, unfortunately, and that's why we concentrated so much less on the monetary prize at the end of the competition, and instead on how to help the winners start a career. In the last edition, for example, all the theaters of the region, as I told you before, we are connected to all the opera houses of the region. All the intendant of the houses were here, and they all worked in order to give a chance to the winners to work with them. So it was like 9 theaters. And we opened the option for these conductors to have at least 9 different occasions in Emilia-Romagna to work and develop their qualities. Being in the symphonic repertoire, we will host, the jury will have some female conductors. We'll have 2 agents. We are still discussing on which agents. I totally agree on the fact that the most important agencies have too many names on the list, and they don't care about the young conductors unless they are a very famous name already. And so we are working with most likely smaller agencies, which will have a very small amount of artists on their lists and can really work together with the younger conductors to help them develop their career. Because the problem is, it is very true that you need to help the conductors develop. That's what we did in the past edition for the opera. Between July and September, we had a lot of coaches helping them. Also, the concertmaster of the orchestra started developing a relationship with the members of the competition, helping them understand how to relate with the orchestra and with the concertmaster. And then we had a vocal coach who helped the conductors understand how to work with the singers for the opera. This time, being something related only to symphonic repertoire, the problem is how can they then reach the market? Because then they have to develop their qualities on one side, but they also have to understand how the market works. And somehow this nowadays is the main focus, the main problem, because sometimes you see conductors who are more talented, but didn't have a chance to get through. And it was a marketing thing. And unfortunately, this is the market nowadays. It's kind of it's blind not to see that they have to face a career, which is based on quality on one side, on talent, on charisma, that's for sure, but it's not enough. If they are not able to understand how to market themselves, how to approach the system, and how can you let them understand how the system works? This is very important, and it has to be part of the development of these young conductors.
But if that's so important, what do you do in your competition to show this to the audience, to the jury? Is there something you do to show that non-musical part of their business?
To the audience, what do you mean?
You know, if you say, you know, it's so important for a conductor, you know, not only to be a fantastic musician on stage, but also, you know, to be, you know, marketing something. And you know, conductors are nowadays the face of an orchestra. You know, they are very important to
image.
Connect with the audience, with stakeholders, and all these kind of things. Is this something that you also think of when you host your competition and want to show to the jury that these qualities are there?
Well, the fact, for example, that we have an audience prize, and in the past, most of the time, the jury prize was not the first jury prize, was not the first audience prize, and this is how the audience perceives conductors, and it is very important. And somehow you have to always double think. Yes, the jury give most likely a technical and quality talent judgment. But then the people who buy the tickets are not the ones in the jury, it's the audience. Just to give you a very, they forced me not to talk about this, so it has to be Kirill Petrenko, somebody who is well renowned as a conductor, took part of one of the Toscanini competition. He was 7th. He didn't even arrive in the last 3 finalists. And then he did a fantastic career as a musician and as a performer and so forth. So what I'm saying is, it is very hard to judge. The jury has one duty, which is more technical, but you have to help these young musicians, young conductors, develop the whole thing. Let him then understand how it works. And the way they interact with the audience is also very important.
Just the difference between the audience and the orchestra and the jury feeling. Sometimes 4 years ago there was a big difference, and I received after the ceremony so many emails. Why the jury chose this competition? The orchestra know him. I received a lot of. In fact, the jury sees something that the public, the audience don't see. For example, the jury go to the rehearsals without audience before the final, and all the candidates use their time, how they manage the time, how they speak to the orchestra. The public don't see that, and it's a big difference because the jury say this candidate couldn't work because during the competition, the orchestra are very kind, very nice. They do the maximum to help the candidates. They do all what they show. But 3 months after, if they go to a big national orchestra, sometimes the musicians don't want to be very nice. They do their work. And sometimes it's a disaster. The very good candidates, brilliant, and it's not an assurance to be a good things after. And in the same way, we have a big experience 20 years ago. You know, perhaps Lionel Bringuier was a French winner. He was only 19 when he won the competition. He was too young. And at this time, we have no coaching, no accompaniment. And directly, it was with not a good agency, with not good choices. And for example, it was named in Tonhalle, Zurich. It was too young after David Zinman. And in 2 years, it was a disaster because it was too young. And so it's very important, this thing, to the accompaniment and to sometimes to the jury to make his choice perhaps different of the audience. It's not the same thing, of course.
Actually, in our cases, we collaborate with some orchestras, which is called New Japan Philharmonic, Tokyo Philharmonic Orchestra, and NHK Orchestra Symphony. And because of that, we sometimes heard from them that they want to choose collaborate with one of the winners because they always seek for the good composers and non-composer conductor. So you know, that's why we set the orchestra award, and that orchestra choose from the finalists, and then if they're really impressed with one of them, and they give them an award. So that the contestants are really thrilled to get a very honored to get the award.
I'm looking at the time, and there are so many more things I wanted to talk with you about, but I think one more thing that we need to talk about, and also bridging the gap to the next panel, and this is, of course, you know, it's been touched already on a couple of times, and that's of course the issue of how do we promote more female conductors, and I'm really curious to hear how you are approaching this.
If I can begin, I try. Our competition is very old. The chairman is always a man, and since 12 years, I try to have a woman as chairwoman. is very, very, very difficult. 6 years ago, or 8 years ago, all the jury was only men. So now, of course, the jury, we have half women, half men, but in the candidates, we have only 15%. So we have 300 candidates and 40, 45 women, female. And it doesn't increase. It's very stable. So it's very difficult. The question is, the partner asked them, for you 20 last candidates, please make quotas, 10 women, 10 men. We don't want that because we have to cancel some good male candidates. But I understand that we have to make more, but we don't accept that idea of quotas. I don't know what do you think about that?
Our percentage of candidates, women candidates, has increased to 20% now. We always had 13, 14 or so. Now it's 20%. And we really struggle hard to get at least this 20% invited to the competition.
With the same proportion.
The same proportion.
Same rate.
Because, yeah, it just needs time. You know, this business of being a conductor needs time. You need figures like Marin Alsop for young people to be attracted to this, and there's still not enough female leading figures to get more women into this, I think. But it's coming, more or less. We have Marina Mahler as the president of the jury, so always a female on top of the jury. We have women conductors. Next time we'll have a women conductor in the jury. We have Barbara Hennigan was in the jury for several editions. Deborah Border, the chief of New York Philharmonic. Pamela Rosenberg, intendant of Berlin Philharmonic. So the jury is always also a mixture of managers, of conductors, conducting teachers. There's also a composer always in the jury because of the
musicians also,
and musicians from the orchestra.
Solo violinists, for example. Or
and yes, one of the pieces in the competition is a concerto. So last time it was the Berg leader with Thomas Hampson singing and being part of the jury, which was very interesting because he's also a great Mahler expert somehow, you know. And the competition before it was Barbara Hennigan. So it's a mixture. But yes, it's 20% for us is a success. I don't know how it is with the other conductors.
Yeah, in our case, it's the same as the Besançon. Like our percentage is almost about a 15%, and that is quite stable. But last time, like we invited Sean Edwards from Royal Academy of Music as a jury, and also like we know Nodoka Okisawa got a Grand Prix award last time. 2018, last time, so 2018. So we hope that she will be in our committee and to become one of the juries and to, you know, encourage the young women to apply into our committee, to our competitions.
You want to say, you know, I think, you know, representation is really important, as you say, you know, and I also agree, you know, the pipeline is longer than we want it to be because of that representation. If you talk to any young female conductor, they will always say, you know, I never considered conducting. It was until somebody told me this might be something for me or for you. You know, you really need to pursue this. There are very few who, out of themselves, would start this. But I'm also really disappointed by the, if you see now, the numbers are increasing in the conservatories a bit. But I don't see that transition coming so fast in our applications. For the first edition, we had 70% applications. We went to 22. But I must say that the quality of the female conductors is really improving because for my semifinals now, I went from 22 applications percentage to 33 in the semifinals. And if I would have allowed 30 candidates instead of 24, I would have been at 45%.
So it means that, you know, there are quite a lot of really good female conductors coming now. So I'm not negative about this, but I think, you know, it's about creating awareness, and also we need to create awareness to anybody, you know, that this is a process that takes time, and you shouldn't force things, because, you know, we all know, you know, we want as many female conductors or in our juries as possible. You will not get them because, you know, they are so overbooked, and this is one of the main problems, I think, of right now, also again related to the agencies and the market, is that the pressure on female conductors is so high. So not only are they requested so much, but they are also, they feel the pressure on them. You know, they need to deliver. And as soon as you know, under the stress or the amount of work that they have, they feel, you know, it's sometimes reinstating the wrong image. And that is so dangerous.
If I may, before working in Parma, I worked for 25 years in Milano for the symphonic orchestra, and we were the first orchestra in Italy to appoint a female conductor, Xian Zhang. She was from China. She won the Mansell competition in New York, and she was with us for 7 years. And I remember my impression when we appointed her, when she stood for the first time on the podium. She was 7 months pregnant. And so I said, gee, what is going to happen? And in 5 minutes, nobody was caring about her sexuality. Everybody was just concentrating on the fact that she was a very talented musician. So that's why, under my point of view, what matters is to have women conductors or women members in the jury, because somehow the problem is not whether the conductor, the candidates are men, women, trans, or whatever they want to be. The problem is whether they are a good musician, a good conductors. And sometimes men in a jury discriminate from the beginning. So the problem is to be very not biased in the jury. And having women in a jury, especially if they are conductors already, can help in not discriminate from the first step.
Yeah. If I may, let's continue this discussion in the next panel. We only have a few minutes left, and I want to hear if there are questions from the floor. Sorry. Are there any questions? Otherwise, we continue. There are no questions. So, oh. Can we have a microphone, please? Oh.
Thank you. My name is Antonio Sarantes. I'm with Cascais Opera International Vocal Competition. And I just wanted to clarify a point about the proportion of applicants that you get that are female. Does that represent, you believe, the proportion of female people that are studying as well? And do you know if, of course, these are all orchestra competitions, so this might be out of the purview, but if there is a difference, for instance, between in the aspect of people in choral conducting or orchestra conducting?
There is a difference. There are much more females studying choral conducting than male. If I do the numbers, there is a big difference between the number of female students and the ones that at least apply to my competition.
Yeah, I think so. It's the same.
Yeah, because, you know, I have a lower number of applications than they have. I only had 175. So, you know, that's... So when you're talking about 400 and you have 70%, you still have a lot of female applicants.
Yes, and I remember also we have a lot of female applicants who come from the chorus or vocal conducting field, which is interesting sometimes because, you know, if they show something special, we would invite them even if they sent in. Once we had some women invited and she only sent in choral conducting, but it was just very, very interesting what she did. So maybe yes, but I don't have any numbers, figures or so.
Any more questions? You wanted to make another point.
Yes, Benedict. I'm just thinking about a French new competition with La Maestria, with only for female. I think it is a good thing for the image, for the, absolutely. But is it a good thing that only women? Perhaps I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it's a good thing to have a spotlight on that on the female conductor, but only women is really. I don't think it's a good thing. But you know, we have 4 competitions and 4 male on stage. Of course, we have a lot of things to change. But is it a good way? I don't want to critique.
No, but I think that's a bit weird. This female conducting competition. Does it have any female violin competitions outside or female piano competitions? Or do we judge sexuality or do we judge artistic quality? So I think it's like they get like a on the front, I'm the prize winner, but it's only the women's conducting. It's very strange, I think.
I know quite a few conductors who don't want to apply for that competition for that reason. But if you talk with the people of La Maestra, you know, when they started out this competition, they, in their mind, they wanted to do 2 editions, and they were like, you know, we want to make a statement with this competition, and I think that was a very good starting point, you know, to create awareness, which they did. But of course, you know, the success was there, and now they want to continue, and I'm questioning, you know, is this in the long run the best possible way?
Yes, a woman question.
Hi, Alison Carlin, Bachtrack. I can't not come in because for, I don't know, 10 years more, I've done statistics on female conductors. And so although I accept that I'm talking about conductors actually in the field rather than coming through competitions, which is my expertise, La Maestra started because only 5% of conductors were female who were running orchestras. And that was, I think, over 500 orchestras. We're now up to about 10% of orchestras are led by women in the top several hundred orchestras. So the numbers are still very tiny. But what I would say is even more worrying is that whereas with female composers, whose numbers were equally appalling 10 years ago, those female composers are now in the top 10 of all composers. Conductors, you still have male conductors getting 2 or 3 jobs, and lots of orchestras simply not giving the jobs to the women. Whether the problem lies with the orchestra members or with the orchestra organizations, I don't know yet, but the numbers of women coming through, I think there were 13 in the top 100, and all that top 100 were in the bottom half, except I think 3.
Alison, if I may, I think the comparison with composers is not a good one, because the luck a composer has is that it can be performed by different orchestras at the same time, and a conductor can only be in one place at a time. And you really need to look at the schedules of the female conductors who are operating in the field right now, and they are so busy. They go from each orchestra to each orchestra. And of course, it depends really on the region where you are. You know, in the Netherlands, we're lucky. You know, we two of our major orchestras have female chief conductors. So so it's 25% of the orchestras in the Netherlands have a female chief conductor. And also, if you look at the programming, there are a lot of things done. But this is not everywhere in the world. But I really think we need to consider that sometimes, you know, things take time. And I'm really sure that these numbers are increasing. As you say, we're going from 5 to 10%. That's doubling. You know, it's not a high percentage, but you need to look at it relatively. And to be honest, you know, there's so many orchestras around. It takes time.
Yeah, my only concern, if I may, is, sorry, did I interrupt you? I didn't see. Is we only have to concentrate on the quality of the musician, of the conductor. I would like again to stress that it is not important whether it's a man or a woman.
We
it has
agree.
to be a conductor. And I understand, and that's why, for example, in our jury, the majority will be women judging, because we hope they have an open mind in the judgment. Instead, I understand that all male can have a discrimination in the way they judge, even if they don't want to. But the thing is, unfortunately, there are occasions where female conductors are chosen only because they are female, women conductors instead because of their qualities, and this is extremely wrong. And I'm afraid that we have to be careful in helping talented women to have a great career, talented women, and we have to stop untalented men to have a career, that's for sure. It's not
That's
that
a
if
good
you are
option.
a man. But we cannot do the opposite. We cannot help untalented women conductors to have a career only because they are women. They have to be fantastic musicians. And so it's a very thin, it's difficult.
I also would like just to mention for statistics that it's a different way if you look at how much is the percentage of women conductors really conducting every week the top 500 orchestras or whatever, or at the helm of these orchestras. Because as we know, the change at the leadership, like chief conductor, music director, occurs every 5 years or 10 years or even 15 years. So it takes very much time to have a transition in this category, in this top category, I would say.
Let's continue this discussion afterwards. I want to thank you for all. We're going for lunch, I think. Thank you.